Growing up, I was never a believer. I didn't grow up in the church, nor did my family. During my childhood, I actually grew up despising God. I came from a family that was going through a divorce, and for me, it was just tough to believe in God. I thought God was just a God of empty promises. Top that off with the father who took custody of my sister and me, along with what his beliefs were about Christianity. He told me that, living in this life, you had to do everything through your own strength, and that religion was just a tool used to control the masses. Days before, we sat down at the dining table, and I told my dad about confirmation. I told him I wanted him to be there, and my dad was hesitant because he wasn't a Christian. But I reassured him I didn't want him to be there as a Christian. I wanted him to be there as my father. Moments later, he asked me a question that shook my faith. He asked me, God first or family first? For me, I told him that God was first, and I think to him, he didn't hear me correctly. So he asked me again, God first or family first? And once again, I told him God was first. Obviously frustrated and upset about my decision, he told me that if I made the choice to go ahead with confirmation, he would not be there in attendance. He would not support me. 15 minutes before service, I approached PSAM and I told him I decided not to go ahead with it because I wanted to use that time to evangelize to my family. It wasn't an easy decision to make. It was disappointing that I was not able to stand up to proclaim my faith to God. PSAM was leading it, and he was really happy to see that I was one of the people that signed up. The only difference was that I decided not to tell my dad about confirmation. And luckily through PSAM and Minji, I was convinced otherwise to tell my family about my confirmation. I decided to tell my family 2 hours before service. It felt like deja vu all over again with the first confirmation. I apologized for waiting last minute. I told my dad, this isn't how I wanted it to go down, but I was just fearful from what happened the first time. Obviously frustrated and disappointed, he told me, it's my choice to make once again. But I guess the only difference between this time and last was that I was really just confident in my decision to go ahead with it. And through verbal exchanges, just fighting, arguing, and even him physically holding me back from leaving the house, I actually ran out. I ran out of the house without shoes. I ran out without a suit on. They showed their support to me with, prayer, through giving me a suit, giving me a tie, giving me all the things I needed to stand up there and get confirmed and declare my faith to God. I know for a fact that these life events could have not been done on my own strength or my own willpower. God alone carried me through all this. With COVID, I realized there has to be urgency in what we do, and I think faith is no exception. And so, even despite the hardships of my family or even my dad disowning me just for a brief moment, I thought it was worth it. There has to be urgency, and I needed to show that God was first in my life through action and not through words. Never would I have thought I'd be a Christian, and never would I have thought I would be able to share my testimony. I never thought my testimony was something crazy like other testimonies that I've heard, but God has a way of working through everyone's lives. And I hope my testimony blesses you all. I hope that it just really does show you that the kingdom of God is worth it.